Chapter 1. Under the Reign of Destiny. The sky of April 1452 hung heavy. Gray clouds stretched like a curtain hiding the secrets of creation. Rain drummed steadily on the worn tiles of the small house at the foot of the Tuscan hills. In the dim room, the flickering oil lamp cast light upon the pale face of Caterina, the young mother trembling as she held her newborn child close to her chest. The infant's tender cries mingled with the rhythm of rain, like a declaration to the world. I have arrived, and I shall carve my mark upon the flow of time. The boy was named Leonardo, after the land of Vinci, a small town nestled among rolling hills, where time flowed slowly like a meandering brook, yet silently nurtured an extraordinary soul. Leonardo grew up surrounded by nature, his bright eyes following every water swirl and soaring bird. He loved to sit alone, immersed in questions without answers. Why does water spiral in perfect circles? How can birds ride the wind and fly? When night fell, under the silver moonlight, Leonardo would take a stick and scratch strange shapes upon the ground. Curved bird wings, overlapping circles, joints that seemed like dreams. He drew not for play, but as if guided by an invisible flame burning within his chest. Though mocked by the village children, Leonardo only smiled, his eyes turned toward the sky where birds danced on air. In his heart, a seed had sprouted. If angels have wings, then humans too deserve to touch the sky. He lived close to nature, observing bees building hives, ants carrying loads, listening to the wind singing through tree branches. The people of Vinci called him the strange boy. But Caterina understood. This child was not born to live an ordinary life. And so it was. From that rainy night in Vinci, beneath stormy skies and flickering lamplight, the journey of a genius had quietly begun. Chapter 2. Florence, the Blazing Flame. 15th-century Florence emerged like a glittering jewel, where art and ambition wove together in an endless symphony. Church bells rang in harmony with the rhythm of forge hammers, merchants' calls, and the sound of lutes drifting from open windows. The city was a flowing river, where the light of faith and shadows of desire intermingled, creating a vivid tapestry of contradictions. Leonardo, a lanky 14-year-old with long chestnut hair and eyes clear as autumn lakes, left the village of Vinci for Florence. In his hands, he carried only a few rough garments and a small notebook, his only treasure. His first steps were hesitant on the cobblestones, but gradually grew steady, as if each stone in Florence whispered invitations into this strange new world. Ser Piero, the father who had never truly been a father, used his influence to send Leonardo to the workshop of Master Verrocchio. The heavy oak door opened to reveal a space filled with the thick scent of linseed oil, fragrant pine resin, and burning iron, the passionate breath of creation, like the very soul of Florence. The early days in the workshop. Leonardo was not allowed to touch brushes immediately. His apprentice work involved only grinding minerals into pigments, mixing colors, stretching canvas frames, and casting bronze molds. But he did not complain. Each glittering grain of pigment, each drop of spreading oil seemed like a door opening into the mysteries of art. At night, under the dim glow of oil lamps, his hands covered with charcoal dust sketched the shapes of vases, armor, or the weathered faces of blacksmiths. His eyes were sharp, not merely seeing, but penetrating surfaces to touch the hidden essence of all things. Verrocchio soon recognized something extraordinary. He found Leonardo standing silent for hours before an unfinished statue, not speaking, not moving, only observing. This boy is not learning a trade. He is listening to the whispers of stone, of bronze, of color itself. First touch of the brush. One afternoon, when golden light slanted through the window, Verrocchio was completing the baptism of Christ. A corner of the painting remained empty, as if waiting for new breath. He called to Leonardo, who was grinding pigments in the corner. "Come here, Leonardo. Try painting an angel." Leonardo hesitated, his hand trembling slightly as he grasped the brush. But the moment brush touched canvas, something miraculous happened. The trembling vanished, replaced by absolute stillness, as if the entire world paused to watch each stroke he made. Each brush stroke was a breath, each color a whisper from the depths of his soul. When he set down the brush, an angel appeared on the canvas unlike any image before. Eyes blazed bright as if containing starlight, lips curved in a subtle smile, holding creation's secrets, soft hair flowing as if caught in invisible wind. Light did not merely shine upon the angel, it seemed to emanate from within, alive and radiant. Verrocchio stood silent, his gaze fixed upon the painting. After a long while, he set down his own brush and sighed. "I have taught many students, but today I know I will be surpassed by one." Florence, city of trials. Though Verrocchio's workshop opened the first door, Florence did not easily welcome Leonardo. The brilliant city under Medici patronage was also an arena of jealousy and suspicion. Leonardo was an outsider, illegitimate, without noble bloodline, without standing among the lavish banquets. His strange attire and observant gaze that seemed to want to disassemble the world made people both curious and uneasy. In their eyes, he was a mystery, both wonderful and dangerous. But Leonardo paid no mind to whispered gossip. Florence gave him an invaluable gift: light. Each towering statue in the squares, each block of marble gleaming in afternoon sun, each church wall telling ancient stories, all became his teachers. He wrote constantly, pages filled with strange sketches, mechanically perfect curved wings, interlocking gears like a dance, swirling water described by countless meticulous circles. Leonardo did not draw merely to recreate beauty. He drew to understand, to unlock the universe's mysteries. The blazing flame one summer evening, Leonardo stepped from the workshop into Florence's air thick with lavender scent from distant fields. Above the Milky Way scattered starlight like an invitation from infinity. He lifted his head, his hand unconsciously reaching upward, as if to touch those distant stars. In that moment, a whisper arose from deep within his heart. The world is far greater than what ordinary eyes see, and you were born to explore it. The flame within Leonardo blazed up, smoldering yet fierce, like a promise never to be extinguished. Florence had awakened him, transforming the dreaming boy by the brook into a young man who dared believe that all creation's secrets could be revealed if he were patient enough to look, to listen, and to paint them into being. Chapter 3. The Wanderer in Light Florence, cradle of beauty but also arena of pride. Within this brilliant tapestry, Leonardo was like an ink stroke wandering from its line, silent yet tormented, never blending in, never belonging. The indelible mark. Though his talent amazed Verrocchio's entire workshop, Leonardo still bore a nameless wound: the illegitimate child. Among young nobles enjoying privilege, he remained forever a shadow standing on the margins. When a young aristocrat asked contemptuously, "What right does someone like you have to understand such beauty?" Leonardo only smiled, his heart echoing with a vow: "Beauty needs no one's permission. I will find it, even if the whole world turns away." The eccentric in gossip's tongue. Leonardo was an enigma in people's eyes, loose chestnut robes, worn soft shoes, long untrimmed hair. He cared nothing for wedding ceremonies, participated in no hunts, prayed in no churches. Instead, he sat for hours by the riverbank, observing sparrows, falling leaves, glittering water. Sharp gossip cut like knife blades. That fellow is different, talented but dangerous. But Leonardo paid no attention. His heart was busy pursuing grander mysteries, mysteries of nature, light, and life. Diary of a Dreamer. When Florence sank into night's shadows, Leonardo returned to his flickering oil lamp. He wrote strange backward script in his notebook, not to hide secrets, but like dialogue with the future. In those pages, wondrous sketches appeared, flying machines with spiral wings, gear-driven vehicles, swirling water drawn in perfect circles. Interspersed were personal reflections. Science is light, yet humanity remains sunk in darkness. They fear the light and will burn the one who carries the torch. In solitude, he found freedom. Freedom to dream dreams others dared not. Fragile friendship. Within Florence's cold current, Leonardo found warmth from fellow outcasts, poor students, struggling blacksmiths, wandering minstrels with voices sad as night wind. One moonlit evening, a minstrel asked, "You paint pictures, build machines? But what do you really want?" Leonardo replied, his voice slow like an oath. "I want to see the world as it truly is, not constructed by fear and rules. If I cannot reach it, I will paint that dream for others to continue." In that moment, his friends realized Leonardo no longer belonged to them. He belonged to that distant realm where light and shadow merged. The Wanderer Within. Florence day by day, Leonardo became more of an enigma. His talent made people bow their heads, but his difference kept him forever an outsider. Florence gave him wings of intellect, but also bound him with cold prejudice, making him realize he did not belong here. In his notebook, he wrote, "I am a stranger in this world." But sometimes only the stranger sees more clearly the hidden beauty. The flame within Leonardo, both brilliant and lonely, continued burning without cease, leading him toward new horizons. Milan, where dreams would continue to be painted. Chapter 4. Milan. Between steel and blood. The road from Florence to Milan wound through deep valleys, silver-gleaming rivers, and mist-shrouded passes. Leonardo left Florence, where he had tasted both glory and bitterness, to pursue new horizons. On horseback, wind streaming through his chestnut hair, his eyes sparkled with distant light, as if chasing dreams only he could see. In his meager baggage, notebooks were the true treasure. Hundreds of pages dense with sketches of curved bird wings, circular water swirls, interlocking gears, and mysterious backward script, like whispers from an unexplored universe. The fateful letter. Arriving in Milan, Leonardo did not introduce himself as a painter. Instead, he wrote to Ludovico Sforza, Il Moro, listing 11 extraordinary things: manufacturing rapid-fire guns, impregnable fortresses, portable bridges, water channels, and war machines never before seen. Only in the final line did he humbly add, "In addition, I know a little about painting." Leonardo understood Milan was no place for angels to soar. This was a city of steel and blood, where power and war reigned supreme. To survive, he must transform into a war engineer. City of Power Milan was another world. Thundering war drums, heat from forges, guards' footsteps echoing on stone streets. Ludovico Sforza, with cold, sharp eyes and an inscrutable smile, embodied ambition itself. Leonardo, with his genius transcending time, became the perfect chess piece in Il Moro's power game. The Last Supper. During his years in Milan, Leonardo undertook countless projects. But the masterpiece that carved his name in eternity was the Last Supper on the wall of Santa Maria delle Grazie convent. In the silent room, Leonardo recreated the moment Christ spoke. "One of you will betray me." The apostles recoiled in shock, eyes wide with amazement, hands raised in dismay. Only Jesus sat quietly at the center, his face sorrowful yet radiant like an oil lamp in a storm. When completed, viewers held their breath. They saw not just a meal, but humanity's tragedy, torn apart by suspicion and betrayal. The Last Supper was a declaration. Art could touch the deepest depths of the human soul. Long nights' days spent painting and designing. Nights found Leonardo returning to his notebook under flickering candlelight. His hands never ceased sketching. Round armored vehicles, enormous catapults, curved mechanical wings, water swirls drawn in perfect circles. Sometimes he set down his pen, eyes turning to the window where Milan sparkled with guard torches. A tormenting question arose. These drawings, will they bring life or serve only as instruments of death? No one answered. Only candlelight trembled like a small heart fighting against darkness that would swallow dreams. The artist on the edge. Nearly 20 years in Milan were times of both glory and anguish. Leonardo gained Il Moro's patronage, created great works and immortal masterpieces. But his artistic dreams were bound to the war machine serving power. In his notebook, shaking script recorded, "I was born to praise nature's beauty. But here I draw weapons, calculate death. Perhaps that too is part of truth, but my heart aches." Milan gave Leonardo opportunity to shine, but robbed him of innocence. From here he was no longer just a painter or dreamer. He was a soul torn between art and war, between light and shadow, between soaring dreams and the harsh reality of a world of steel and blood. Chapter 5. The Smile That Transcends. Time. Spring 1503 found Leonardo returning to Florence, the brilliant city with golden sunlight and resonant church bells. He was no longer the young man of yesteryear, but one who had experienced war, confronted power, painted holy suppers, and sketched machines of death. His heart bore time's scars, yet was also deeper, like a river both still and swirling. Now, Leonardo was no longer scorned or standing on margins. He had become a symbol whispered about throughout Florence. But deep in his soul, the flame of longing still burned, seeking humanity's spirit through each brushstroke, light, and shadow. The fateful meeting. A wealthy merchant approached Leonardo with a simple request. Paint a portrait of his wife, Lisa Gherardini. She was no dazzling princess, possessed no beauty to topple kingdoms. But when she entered the workshop, gentle as spring breeze, Leonardo looked up and was stunned. It was not her beauty that overwhelmed him, but her eyes, gentle as a calm lake surface, yet hiding profound secrets, as if the entire universe quietly concealed itself within. In that moment, Leonardo knew this portrait would not merely be artwork. It would be a journey seeking life's deepest essence. Days of endless painting. Leonardo began to paint, but unlike other artists who needed only weeks, he devoted long months and years. He studied how facial muscles moved when smiles flickered past, how eyes sparkled when souls stirred. He invited musicians to the workshop, letting lute melodies and gentle singing keep Lisa's face serene, as if lost in dreams. He observed light filtering through windows, changing with seasons, with each waning afternoon, each passing cloud. Every brushstroke was a question, each color an answer. The painting gradually took shape, but Leonardo was not hasty. He would add strokes, then pause, revise, as if fearing rushed moments would dissolve the miracle forming. People grew impatient, whispering about his slowness. But for Leonardo, this was no longer a painting to deliver to clients. It was a pilgrimage into the soul's depths, where light and shadow harmonized. The smile like mystery. What made the painting immortal was not the elegant hands upon the dress, nor the misty background with winding distant roads. It was Lisa's smile. It was not a radiant smile, not explosive joy. It was gentle, fleeting, like a memory just surfacing in mind, both happy and melancholic. Seen from afar, the smile was serene as a summer river. Up close, one glimpsed hidden ripples, as if an entire mysterious world swirled beneath. Gazing long, she seemed to be smiling. Looking away, one saw profound contemplation in her eyes. That smile was Leonardo's secret message. It was the echo of years he had lived, the loneliness of the outsider, the burning thirst of a soul ceaselessly seeking, fierce faith mixed with tormenting doubt. It was the intersection of light and shadow, life and death, dream and reality. The never-finished painting. Leonardo carried the painting throughout his life. He never delivered it to the Gherardini family, as if afraid giving it away meant losing part of his soul. Perhaps he knew the painting had never been, and would never truly be, complete. It was a question forever suspended, a mystery without final answer. During his final years under King François I's patronage in France, Leonardo kept the painting beside him like a silent friend, an endless whisper. People say that in his weary hours, when he lay his head to rest, his eyes always sought that smile, like the final light in life's storm. Whisper of eternity. The world later called the painting Mona Lisa, and millions have stood before it, bewildered, enchanted, trying to solve the mysterious smile. But only Leonardo understood clearly. It was not just one woman's smile. It was humanity's smile, of fragility, of unnameable mysteries, of immortality transcending time. In his notebook he wrote, "Painting is not merely reproducing what we see. It is opening doors to what has never been seen. If anything exists forever, it is the soul in eyes and smiles." And so that smile transcended time's flow, becoming eternal mystery. Like Leonardo himself, man of dreams, questions, and secrets never fully answered. Chapter 6. Twilight of a Genius. In 1516, when his hair was touched with silver and hands began to tremble, Leonardo left Italy following the invitation of King François I, the young French king who viewed him as a living treasure, flame of intellect illuminating Europe. He was granted the small chateau of Clos-Lucé near Amboise Palace, where he could spend his final days in tranquility. Florence, Milan, Rome, stages of glory and pain, now receded behind him. Leonardo was no longer the dreaming young man wandering in search of sanctuary. He walked with acceptance of human mortality, yet his heart still embraced infinite dreams, as if reaching toward distant stars. The tranquil Chateau Clos. Lucé appeared gentle with red tile roofs, bright under sun, and gray stone walls covered in time's moss. Rose gardens surrounded it, tree-shaded paths leading into tranquility, something rarely found in Leonardo's life. Each morning, he opened windows to let sunlight stream in, sparkling on dew-touched rose petals. Afternoons, he walked slowly, leaning on his cane, eyes still lighting up as they followed soaring birds. Here, he need not prove his talent, need not race against time. But in his mind, the flame of creation still burned softly and eternally. The faithful companion beside Leonardo in his final years was Francesco Melzi, a gentle, loyal student like a son. Melzi not only learned from his master, but cared for him, recording every word, supporting weary footsteps. It was Melzi who would later preserve the notebooks, treasures humanity calls the Codex, preserving geniuses' dreams. One gloomy afternoon, rain pattering outside windows, Leonardo grasped Melzi's hand, his voice weak but full of emotion. "Francesco, my life has been a long dream. I have painted, built, tried to understand the world, but in the end, touched only a small corner of it." Melzi bowed his head, tears silently falling on his master's aged hand, understanding he was witnessing the departure of a great soul. The king and the artist Francois I visited frequently, bringing the rare respect of a young king for an artist. In their conversations, the king quietly listened as Leonardo explained painting, architecture, and nature's mysteries. To Francois, Leonardo was not a foreigner, but a lamp illuminating the entire age. One day, walking together on a garden path among fragrant lavender, Francois asked, "You have painted angels, designed weapons, dreamed of bird wings and flowing water. What do you believe in most?" Leonardo stopped, his gaze distant toward gray skies. After brief silence, he replied softly, voice weary but bright, "I believe this universe is a grand symphony. Humans hear only a few notes, but that music plays on, whether we understand it or not." Francois looked at him, and in that moment realized he stood before a soul belonging not to one age, but to eternity. Final pages in Clos Lucé Château, Leonardo still wrote, still drew, but brushstrokes now came slower, hands lacking strength to complete every idea. Unfinished manuscripts piled up, flying machines that never took flight, water swirls never decoded, dreams never given form. In this incompleteness, we see Leonardo's true nature. Genius always reaching beyond his own grasp, always challenging human limits. In his notebook, he left trembling script. "Like one who lived a lifetime dreaming, I awaken to find my hands not long enough to touch the sky." The moment of departure. On May 2nd, 1519, Leonardo lay in his bed at Clos Lucé Château, gentle light from the window streaming in, illuminating a face deeply carved with time's lines. Francesco Melzi sat beside, gripping his master's hand, eyes red with tears. They say Francois I was also present, bowing his head before the genius gradually slipping into eternal rest. Chapter 7. Legacy of Light. Centuries flowed like a quiet river, carrying away once towering castles and erasing the names of powerful dukes. But the footsteps of one who painted dreams still echo endlessly through each brushstroke, page, and idea that humanity continues pursuing. Leonardo departed carrying a scarred heart and incomplete dreams, but left behind a legacy of light transcending all boundaries of time. Brilliant and immortal. The opener of infinity. In scattered notebooks, Leonardo's sketches appear like a miniature universe, curved bird wings wanting to ride wind, mysterious water swirls like nature's whispers, interlocking gears, suspension bridges spanning rivers, anatomical studies amazingly detailed. All testify to a mind never surrendering to limits. For Leonardo, painting was not merely art, but science of light, shadow, and life. Science was not dry numbers, but art of the universe, creation's dance. He erased boundaries between beauty and truth, between imagination and observation, between dream and reality. Today, when airplanes glide across skies, robots move rhythmically, modern bridges span rivers, or body scans appear on screens, all bear Leonardo's shadow. He planted seeds 5 centuries ago, and they still sprout, reaching high in the modern world. The eternal smile. But beyond machines and technical manuscripts, Leonardo left humanity an immortal smile. Mona Lisa's smile. For centuries, scholars have tried to decode it. Scientists analyzed each paint layer and brush stroke, yet the mystery remains intact. That smile belongs not only to Lisa Gherardini. It is the smile of eternal mystery, of unnameable emotions, of humanity's very soul. At the Louvre, amid crowding masses, millions of eyes pause before that small painting. When they meet her gaze, they see not just a woman, but themselves, with fleeting joy, profound sorrow, questions never fully answered. That smile is a mirror reflecting all humanity. Lesson for humanity. In his notebook, Leonardo wrote, "As a day divides into light and darkness, human life divides into knowledge and ignorance. But I believe light is always strong enough to dispel night's curtain." This was his greatest legacy, fierce faith in humanity's infinite potential. No limits for curiosity, no walls can imprison imagination. Everyone can become their own Leonardo, if they dare question, dare doubt, dare dream dreams greater than themselves. The light that remains, 5 centuries have passed, but Leonardo remains present. He lives in dust-covered notebooks of time, in brushstrokes of the Last Supper, in Mona Lisa's immortal smile. He lives in every unfinished idea, every open question, every dream humanity continues pursuing. Twilight fell on his life at Clos-Lucé Chateau, but the light he kindled never died. It still shines, guiding those who dare see the world with curious eyes, yearning hearts, and boundless imagination. Leonardo da Vinci, the outsider amid humanity, the one who loved the world like a child, who departed as a lonely genius, is humanity's eternal light. And thus the novel, The Dream Painter, closes. But Leonardo's light never fades. It still burns within each of us, whenever we dare look upon the world with fresh eyes, open wide our hearts, and paint dreams without limits. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below to let us know what content you'd love to see next.